can you tell me about your initial reaction when you heard about that this season is going to be for 3 days?
I was excited, but I was like, whoa, are you kidding me? Like, it's such a huge challenge to have done that. We shoot for the course of 6-7 months, and to then just pack it in 3 days, you know it's going to be intense. And it definitely was.
It's also very exciting in terms of the storytelling. It's really wonderful, and it's something that I really appreciate having, you know, gone to do other projects over the past year. To work with someone, a mind like a Genji Cohen, right? Someone, our creator, who came up with this, and that there's something so genius and so brilliant about the storytelling that has to happen, and in terms of the structure of it, so that we have these great stories, but then the form, you know, we talk in art about form and content, right? And so the form becomes so much more present in the way in which the stories are told, and that's very exciting to be a part of.
Did you feel a need to change the way you look at your characters and the way you act as your character, since it's just in 3 days?
I think the characters just evolve, like, and so it's about being true to the circumstances and where the characters are at the time. So yeah, because the circumstances of the prison have changed dramatically, and so when life presents new challenges, ideally we step up to those things as ourselves, but so we have to dig deeper, I think, in just as human beings when we have new challenges.
And there's more nuances as well, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's my initial reaction, seeing the episodes, that you get to know the characters more, actually.
I mean, you're still getting flashbacks. I mean, when you talk about changing, when I first stepped into Tasty, I definitely came from, you know, theater background. I want to have a backstory. And so I created my own, and then they give me one, and I'm like, this is completely different than what I thought. But then to go into season 5, I don't know when this is coming out. I don't want to spoil anything. But then to go into season 5 and then get another backstory, you're like, wait, hold up. I didn't know that happened too. Like, you know what I mean? And sometimes for me, I do wish I would have had that. But the writers are smart. They know what you need when you need it, and they don't give you the information until you need it. So that's cool too for me to like learn a different way of working as an actor.
Yeah. And every project's different too, so the way I approach Orange is not the same way I approach Doubt or Rocky Horror Picture Show, or every project requires, and so then it's great to have a toolbox that you have different, you know, things that you can pull. Okay, maybe I'll pull this from this toolbox, and maybe I have to find something that I didn't even know I had in my toolbox. So that's actually very exciting.
I just kind of had a fangirl moment, even though I've known Laverne for a while. But I was like, Rocky Horror, I totally, like I didn't forget, but I forgot for a second. I was like, oh shit, like she did all of that.
Yeah.
That thing
and I was sitting
like,
next to her.
Yeah, just had a moment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a fangirl, but I'm a fangirl. Like, you know, I don't want you to be like freaked out right now. But I was like, hold up.
Thank you, girl. I had so much fun, but that was like, I'm not going to approach Rocky Horror the same way I approach Sophia.
Obviously.
You know, it's like a totally different genre, a totally different vibe, and that is like, it's really exciting. What's great about doing episodic television, a show like Orange, is that it does evolve and the characters evolve, and so every season I set new acting challenges for myself every season, but luckily there have been, especially these last couple of seasons for me, really completely new things that I have to do and that require me to approach them differently. Sure. And so there's like, okay, how am I going to deal with this? Season 4, I remember when I got last season, all the solitary stuff, I was like, oh my God, this is a really big storyline. It's really important. I'm not on screen much, but the storyline is important. So I had to call my acting coach, and I was like, Brad, we need to work on this, on these scenes together to get really specific about what the solitary thing is. I went and did a bunch of reading and research about people in solitary, and at the time I think people were doing hunger strikes in California who were in prison, who were in solitary to get rid of solitary confinement in California. So there was all this research that had to happen, and it's not the same Sophia that we knew in other seasons, and that was like really exciting to go in and just like really tackle that.
And she's not the same in season 5 as well.
No, isn't that great?
I had a different experience than Laverne, because I was also doing another show at the time, so I wasn't able to. I didn't have the time to do all this research that I wanted to do, and I had to just be thrown in and just go with my instincts and go with my knowledge my toolbox that I have, you know what I mean? But that's every season
was there something though? Was there something about being on Broadway? She was on Broadway in The Color Purple, the Tony-nominated actress. Was there something about? Because I always thought about. It was really interesting to me thinking about Sophia in Color Purple, and then what Tasty was going through. It feels like they were feeding each other to me, right?
It was like calling on ancestors for a second. It felt like, and it's also that thing of like, we have not.
I just got goosebumps. I just got goosebumps when you said that.
Yeah.
Because I feel.
That's what it felt like.
I feel that because I saw her in Color Purple twice. Yeah. I want to see it more. But there's something so. Color Purple feels like it came down. Alice Walker, it was brought to her through God, and then Oprah is like so this channeling that happens in Color Purple, and then to see everything that Tasty went through. That feels right.
There was this one scene, and y'all will see it soon.
I've seen it actually.
Episode 5.
Okay.
Tasty gives this speech, and it's just so to me reflective of what was going on with Sophia in The Color Purple, and it just reminded me, like I was saying earlier, it's like, we haven't gotten as far as we think we have, and especially as Black women, you know what I mean? And so it definitely went through that, but it's just that thing of like, instead of the research for me, it's just like, what have I been through? What is, as a Black woman, how can I pull on the stories of my mother and my grandmother, and as well as adding to, you know, the research I've done with Sophia.
And then what does it mean too to have, and this is a wonderful gift of acting, if somehow I can completely get out of the way as Laverne and just allow the spirits to come in. And sometimes it's like not even a research thing. It's just like you are like sort of possessed by something that you don't fully understand, and something's coming through and you're like, it's almost like a strange possession sometimes when you're doing it right. Not all the time, but sometimes do you feel that?
A lot this season for
It's
me.
like, holy shit. I have to say shit. I didn't know this could even come out of me.
Right. Yeah. But again, adding to that, like, especially for my character, being remembered that people were really going through this. Like, people, like we keep saying, Poussey, and I love that, great. But they are real life people. Like, the Philando shit was happening at the same time. Yeah. We shot this in, I think, November. I could be wrong. But the Philando shit happened in July 2016. That's when we started season 5. You know, we go right back into it. So that, you calling on all of those people.
And Alton Sterling happened around the same time.
And, you know, thinking about Philando and his daughter being there, you know, in the back of that car, that 4 or 5-year-old girl. You know what I'm saying?
And you never get over that. My mother told me, my mother told me a story when she was 5 years old. This is 1955 in Alabama, when her dad was pulled over by the police, and this is one of the things she'll never forget. And that he was called the N-word, and he was pulled out of the car by the police. You know, this is in Alabama in 1955, and it never. Luckily, he survived, but this never left her. My mother's in her 60s now, and those things, and these things never leave you. And so the grieving that is happening now, but from people, I mean, certainly collectively we're grieving in the United States, all these murders of Black folks and trans folks, but the people who are their relatives, like, you never,
that's the part that matters too.
Ever get over that. Yeah. And so those are the things we're carrying with us when we tell these stories.
That's exactly what we're carrying with us for 6-7 months. And even at the same time, sorry, keep going, but even at the same time, sometimes that feels selfish, because it's like, I'm just acting that. I get to step away for after the 6 months of shooting. I'm done. They still got to deal with that. Anyway, that's Orange is the New Black in the show.